right along. We're already behind, so let's dive right in. Baton Rouge Police Chief Murphy Paul in studio this morning. Chief, welcome back. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing much better.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Let's get this started. Here we go.
All right.
All right.
Yes,
so
sir.
I texted you on Friday, and I was like, oh, goodness gracious, he's not going to come on. It's just too much heat right now.
Yeah.
He's going to need to decompress. I think it was like maybe 2 minutes later, you texted back, absolutely. I don't even think you checked your schedule, which is why we had to postpone.
Well, I had to meet with some investigators. A briefing.
There is still the job at hand. I understand that for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All
yes,
right.
Sir.
We got to start off by rewinding the clock back to Wednesday. That's when it all went down. Metro Council meeting. You were hot. You were very hot. You lit into a couple of council members specifically. Yeah. Walk me through what led up to you getting up to the podium in the first place.
Well, look, obviously that incident has been talked about in circles, not even just here, but nationally. What I believe the focus should be on is how we can be. Obviously, the city council is divided on this issue. There was a rally yesterday in support and disagreed with some of the statements made by some city council members. I think our focus should be how do we come together, the administration and all city council members, on a positive path moving forward. My days here are short.
1 month as of today.
You know what? You're right, huh?
Yeah.
That's right. And at this time, I tell you, the comments yesterday from a lot of community members and others asking me to stay and if I would be willing to leave, I tell you, I was really humbled and by that. But I think the focus now should be sitting down with those councilmen and council ladies, everybody, and have a heart-to-heart conversation about how we move forward in a positive direction for the city of Baton Rouge.
We got Baton Rouge Police Chief Murphy Paul with us. Okay, I understand where the focus should be, but you laid out a lot of allegations within that statement on last Wednesday night.
That's correct.
So I got to ask you for clarification on a couple of them. You said some people had called and this is why I don't think there's a dad out there that doesn't understand you being hot.
Yeah.
You said someone had called your kids gangbangers.
A young police officer approached me and said my kids should be off limits. And guess what? I agree with him.
100%.
I agree my kids should be off limits.
But who called your kids?
I agree my family should be off limits.
Right.
That officer showed me the text message and the photograph. That is unacceptable.
So who crossed the line?
That is unacceptable.
I understand.
Okay? That is unacceptable. There's a lot that I've experienced over the 5.5 years. And there are many people who are aware of that. There are many people who are aware of that.
Well, I've said that from the start. You had detractors from day one that just weren't going to listen, weren't going to hear you out, weren't going to give you a chance. It's hard to believe we're 5 years down the road, and for some, it still feels like day one. Let me go ahead and press for an answer. Are you not going to answer as to who crossed the line?
We're going to everything that I stated, and was facts.
Okay,
that was presented to me. And my focus is how do we move forward as a body, as a city government, as a city council, and as a police department in these times. And I'm going to work with the council people, council persons to try to make that happen.
The comment about your kids, and we'll close the book on that for sure, was one thing. There was also something about a Texas trip, but then there was also something about civil service board members being in someone's pocket. Is there any way you can elaborate on that?
I think I stated what I stated that day.
Okay. All right. I mean, the floor is open. You got 9 minutes.
I stated what I stated. And, sometimes it's uncomfortable, but sometimes people don't like to hear what God loves. And you know what that is?
What's that?
The truth.
Well, absolutely. But that's what we're looking for more of. We're looking for clarification on it. So hopefully this will all spell out in the coming days as we move forward. Baton Rouge Police Chief Murphy Paul is our guest. So after Wednesday's meeting, you did have to get right back to work. Thursday, announcement came out that there would be a Friday press conference. That press conference was about arrests being made. Walk us through that, if you would, please.
Sure, it's an investigative process right now. I believe the number is 9. When I was last briefed by my internal affairs division on administrative complaints that we've received that are actively being worked by our internal affairs division. We had 4 criminal cases that were also initiated that were running parallel with the criminal investigations. An arrest was made on Troy Lawrence Jr. for battery, and we announced the other 4 arrests during the press conference on Friday. Mm-hmm. We are still actively working those other 2, and we are also working with our federal partners to provide all the information that they may need and assist them in any way they need in their federal investigation.
The announcing about Troy Lawrence Sr., I mean, does that, pardon the Gen Z expression, does that hit different because it's so high up the ranks?
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts. I mean, obviously, I put a deputy chief. I promoted him to the rank of deputy chief. This is somebody in my senior staff. It hurts. I mean, I love him.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a man I have love for, and it hurt, but we have to follow the evidence.
We're talking with Baton Rouge Police Chief Murphy Paul, who, as of today, has 1 month to go on the job. Let's talk about that for just a minute. And we check in with you every month about stats and the state of things. We'll get to that on the back end. But as of today, 1 month to go on the job. The events of the past week, the mayor has said, might change the game when finding your replacement. Does that in any way, shape, or form change the game on your departure?
Wait, say that one more time.
The events of the past week may have changed the game a little bit on finding your replacement. Looking at who's internal and whatnot. This is the mayor's words, not yours, so I apologize if I'm, crossing the streams. But if it changes the approach and or timeline on finding your replacement, does it change the timeline on your departure?
Obviously this is a work in progress. The mayor has not even has not received those candidates that are eligible. We
Right.
haven't even received the results of the tests. So I think when that happens, the mayor president will do her due diligence in making sure, looking at that list and making sure the appropriate backgrounds are done. And even more so looking at the qualifications, that's a process. And I think she'll make that informed decision at the appropriate time based on not just the qualifications of those individuals. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be others who will be consulted in that process. But also the current state that we're in, I'm sure will have to be considered when she make that decision.
Baton Rouge Police Chief Murphy Paul, our guest for another couple minutes. Okay, so everything before your press conference Friday or during the press conference Friday,
Yes, sir.
the mayor made mention, let's just call off the dogs when it comes to an earlier departure or termination. Let's just close the book on that conversation.
Yeah.
That was kind of the precursor to yesterday.
Well, we were in the midst of an investigation. We had just made an arrest. I believe we announced that we were going to be making some announcements Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'd already notified of my departure date.
Right.
What was the urgency?
No, it was so, but there was still the call for it on Thursday, and then the mayor's words on Friday, leading into your announcement of the arrest. That kind of walked us up to yesterday with the rally. I noted as soon as you sat down, you look calm.
When yesterday?
Yeah, after yesterday, the demeanor was able to cool a little bit.
Well, a lot of it, right? No, look, I think you've seen me speak. I've been on there how many times? Oh my gosh, how many times I spoke at press conferences? How many times I've spoke at conferences, law enforcement conferences around the country, and I think you see the emotions, the passion on that day was different than you had ever seen in Chief Paul. Is that fair?
Yes, very
Okay.
much so. Maybe once or twice, like you would get, like your voice right now is the Chief Paul that we know, right?
Yes, sir.
What was going down Wednesday night was different. Now, that being said, I believe was I don't apologize for my passion was the headline. If given the chance to do it over again, what would you do different?
I think I stated that in the press conference, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, that's fair. Let's run down numbers because you are still the chief of police, and as much as the human interest end of all the emotion is there, there's also the job at hand. Homicides have been trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
I'm like, I do top stories and trending every day. And so I take note of it. Every day that there's not a homicide or a non-fatal, it's noted. So are we on a run right now that we can hope to continue?
Well, I think we will continue this run. Right now, homicides are down over 23% on top of the 21% last year. So you're talking about a 44% in 2 years. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Bless you.
At this time, non-fatal shootings are down as well. So when you have homicide shootings, homicides down over 44%, 23 plus the 21 last year. That's progress. That's way above the national average. I think we stated that we were looking at a 40 to 45 to 50% reduction in 2 years in homicides, and it just goes to show that the work that the mayor's office has been doing with the Safe, Hopeful, Healthy initiative, with the boots on the ground, and also the men and women of the police department, focusing on those areas of concern, hot spots, and some of our focused deterrence efforts are having positive outcomes when it comes to reducing gun violence. So I want to thank the men and women of the police department for staying vigilant and staying true to public service, and also the community for stepping up.
Squeeze one more minute on it if we can, because you got 1 month to go on the gig, and you're talking about moving forward in a way that is communicative and a way that brings all parties together.
Yeah.
What does that look like from your end?
Well, I think I'll save that for my retirement speech as I leave. I've been very observant over the past 5.5 years. I wasn't comfortable with sharing all of my experiences, but I do believe that the story has to be told, and I am still praying on how it will be told.
I got to wear it for you. I mean, if you want. I mean, the microphone is always open to you right here. He is Baton Rouge Police Chief Murphy Paul.
Yeah.
1 month to go on the gig. We got to get you on at least one more time before you're out of here, man.
Absolutely.
I greatly appreciate your time,
Absolutely.
sir. He is Baton Rouge Police Chief Murphy Paul.